All right, let's see. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So happy to have you here today. And well, I thought I was ready to go live on I think we are. Yay, we're live on Instagram.
Yay.
Bravo. All right. How exciting. All right. Tech gods are working with me today.
Yeah, it's always good when that happens.
Exactly. So, welcome everybody. I'm super excited to have you here with me today. And so, here's the deal: if you've ever wondered how to reach an entirely large audience, a new audience, and are looking for ways to, really build your list, build that audience, fill your courses with right fit clients, I think you're going to love today's show. So today we are going to be chatting with my longtime friend and colleague, Kathy Lowe. And Kathy Lowe comes from Kathy Lowe Knows.
Yeah.
And I love that. And chatting with her, she is my very own Facebook ad strategist. So really excited to chat with Kathy. We'll be talking about how to go about really just supercharging your audience, right?
Okay. Right.
Adding
Exactly.
to your audience, adding to your list, and utilizing Facebook as well as Instagram ads to help you to do that, right? So welcome, right. Kathy. So happy to have you here.
Always great to be here. Always great to chat with you, Leslie.
Great. All right. So again, I want to welcome everyone who's just joined us. Welcome to the Live with Leslie show. And I'm Leslie Bytel, and will be your host today for today's conversation. And as many of you know, I'm a practice growth expert and mentor specifically for health professionals in private practice. And I help my clients to attract more right fit clients, sell more programs, and ultimately grow a profitable practice. And one of my secret weapons is Kathy Lowe.
Okay.
Kathy, why don't you share a little?
Happy to be part of your artillery.
Oh my gosh. All right. So give us your backstory. I mean, you and I have known each other. I know we try to figure this out.
Oh my gosh.
How long has it been now?
Has it been like 8 years now?
Yeah, I think it has.
Did we know each other before we went to that mastermind in LA?
No.
Okay. So I thought we maybe saw each other online and then we met in person.
No, I think that was the first time. So
then it must be like 9 years. Because I think we went to one and then we went to a second one.
Okay.
Well, anyway, we've known each other almost a decade.
Yes, absolutely. And
we'll have to celebrate.
I think we're overdue.
Yeah.
All right. So tell everyone a little bit about how in the world you ended up here.
Okay, well, I have a long storied background, like a lot of people. So I was always super creative, but my parents pushed me into academics, like many families. And so I, studied economics in school. And when I graduated, I landed in my dream job. I was working in packaged goods and brand management at Procter & Gamble and Clorox. And it was just fantastic because I learned not only how to run a business, but I learned the ins and outs of advertising. And at that time, advertising was like what you saw in Mad Men, which is TV advertising, print advertising. The brands I worked in also did a lot of radio. And I learned, like I said, the ins and outs of advertising and how to craft advertising, how to craft persuasive messages, and how those ultimately impact your business. I moved out to California and got, the tech vibe, of course. But inside of me, I was always an artist. I always wanted to do that creative thing. And I started my own jewelry business, which was Kathy Lowe Rocks, and loved it and, grew my business. I was in, I think, 1,500 stores across the country. Wow. But at the time, e-commerce was burgeoning. And I saw that having the tech background and the advertising background, I saw that as an opportunity. And I created a really big, profitable business online. And that was great, loved it. But then I got bit by the remote work, be anywhere, and lifestyle. And it was time to move on I had done my creative thing. I had proven it. And so I morphed into business consulting. And I saw just this big need for Facebook ads. And I had been an early user of Google Ads for my business, as well as I was probably like the first, I think I was one of the first advertisers on Facebook, honestly. And so there was a big need for Facebook ads. And I love Facebook ads because the difference because there's just it's just a great way for a small business to grow their business, and because Facebook knows so much about you, they have incredible targeting capabilities, and it's a great way to grow awareness among a population that may not even know about your product or have a problem that they're aware of. And so from there, I've grown my business, helping other entrepreneurs and small businesses and solopreneurs grow their business with Facebook ads.
Amazing.
So that's my story.
Yeah, so you do that full time now.
I do that more than full time.
More than full time.
I love it.
Amazing.
It's my passion. I love working with people who have a vision, and it's so great in these times that you can have an idea and within a couple weeks have it out there and have clients and make sales. So,
yep. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's really, I never would have imagined at the beginning of my career I could have something like this, but it's exactly what I wanted. I mean, it just suits my personality and my lifestyle. And I have a real passion for advertising and messaging and marketing. So
yeah, you're amazing at it. All right.
Thank you.
How do Facebook ads then compare to other platforms?
Well, it's a really good question. And so, the big difference, I think in terms of like online platforms, the big difference between like Facebook, and when we say Facebook, we mean Facebook and Instagram because they own those, versus something like Google. So Google, what happens is that Google knows what you're interested in by what someone's searching for. So, we like to say that's bottom of the funnel, or it's really close to the purchase. So like when you've decided that you want to buy a new car, or you're looking for a new exercise regime, or you're interested in a recipe, you go and you type your keyword in. But what makes Facebook different is that, so then that's how Google finds you. I mean, but how Facebook finds you is they just know all this information about you because you've created a profile, you've interacted with your friends, you've posted photos of where you go, and you're probably machine learning. You post pictures of foods you like and what you write. I mean, they really have an incredible information.
They do.
So then when you create an ad, when you're creating an advertising campaign and you want people who are interested in travel, or people who are interested in Aruba even, right? Or people that may be interested in, diabetes, right? They probably know. Facebook has a really good sense of who you are. And so it's a great platform to create awareness on, because you can find people who may not even know that they have an issue, a problem, a desire. And then certainly it's great for the end of purchase, where people are about to purchase too, because Facebook probably likely knows like who you are, where you are in that cycle too.
Okay. So the targeting is really...
The targeting is huge. I think the sophistication of the algorithm. So it's the difference in the kind of individual that you're looking for. But also I think Facebook is just how, like when you compare it maybe to Pinterest or LinkedIn, just their targeting is so sophisticated. And I think they've done incredible strides in machine learning to understand who's on it and what they're most likely to do. And because everybody puts their pixel on their websites, right. Facebook also knows, like, once you leave their site, what you're doing. So then they can predict people who will purchase, people who will add something to a cart, people who will sign up for something. So they have great predictive powers too. Okay. And I think, it is by and large the largest, for now, the biggest social platform out there now. So.
Right. Okay. Interesting. So, yeah. And you did mention something kind of interesting, and that like comparing it to, for example, LinkedIn.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we have tried to do advertising on LinkedIn, right?
Right.
And I recall you just mentioning, for some reason, it's just hard to, find the audience.
Yeah. I think LinkedIn's another great platform, and it's really good for if you're looking for people who have certain job titles or to some degree in industry, but their industry definitions are really broad. But if you're really looking for someone who's like VP of content or VP of business development. I worked with a solar company. VP, they wanted people who did like development in solar companies, and that worked really well.
Okay.
But the caveat is LinkedIn can be really expensive
Okay.
relative to other platforms. But
Okay.
LinkedIn, yeah, is a decent platform and always worth testing. But in terms of just the sheer numbers, and again, it depends on your target.
Right. Okay. So a lot of times people feel like they need to pick between, Facebook ads versus Google ads.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit, speak to, maybe some considerations, the differences?
Yeah. I mean, it's a great question. I mean, Google has obviously they were the first, I think, online digital platform. I mean, the big difference is what you're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
Whereas like Google, they base it primarily on keywords. I think they have a little bit of understanding of who the audience is because, right? I mean, they know everything you're searching for.
Yeah, they do.
They must build profiles of people. So it's generally people at the end. Like I said, they're close to a purchase, like they know they want something versus, Facebook is a much better platform to create awareness and find people who may be interested, to create that desire. The other thing with Google I find is that it can be really expensive because the keywords just get bought up by like big corporations, right? Buy it all. And I think Facebook has made a commitment to stay relevant I think they made that decision early on that they would preserve the platform. So a lot of different advertisers can be on it. I mean, there's huge companies that advertise on Facebook and there's everyone you can spend $1 a day and get results.
Okay.
So that's another big piece of consideration with, and then with Facebook, I mean, you just have so much more creative options in terms of the videos that you can create. You can do images, you can do slideshows. You just have a lot more visual real estate at your disposal with Facebook because it comes in, it appears in the feed, whether it's Instagram or on Facebook, or you can even advertise on WhatsApp. And so you just have a lot more creative expression of your message.
Oh, interesting. I'd love to hear from our audience a little bit of feedback. Let me know in the chat if you've ever done paid ads.
Yeah.
What have you done? How did it go? Give us some feedback. Now, one thing that I hear a lot of people doing, they say, "Oh, Leslie, I boosted my."
Right.
So tell me what your thought is around that.
Okay, so all ads people will tell you this. We all hate boosting.
Yeah.
And the reason why is we think it's like the slot machine that you see at the corner, when you're walking through the casino and there's the slot machine making all the noise. And it's like, okay, put $1 in, put $10 in, and you don't even get a cherry or 2 cherry. I guess that's the lowest. And that's what we think boosting is, because Facebook, you have very limited options in terms of targeting and some of the other controls that you have on terms of placement and other controls that you have on ads. So while you and who knows what Facebook is doing with your money and your advertising when you boost it. So you're better off having someone do the back end work and go into the ads manager and actually create an ad.
Okay. Well, that makes sense, right?
Yeah. I mean, they do all kinds of things. I mean, they even do it to us as ads manager. They have all kinds of little tricks to make you turn on like everything on default and let the algorithm do it for you. And in some cases, the algorithm does a fantastic job, better than a human now. But in other ways, it's just a way to get you to relinquish control. So.
Okay. So not a big fan of boosting.
I'm not a fan. Not that it doesn't work. I don't see it, but
you just don't have that targeting.
You just don't. Usually it's just they're going to show it to someone to show it as broad. And not that broad doesn't work, but you really have to look at it within the context of all your other advertising and be able to look at the results. And you just don't get that kind of, you just don't have that ability to analyze what's going on.
Okay. So, hey, Michelle, welcome. So Michelle is one of my wonderful clients. And
great.
Yeah, really happy to have you, Michelle. She's down in Florida, specializing in renal and working with patients that have kidney failure.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I know that Michelle has been working with someone on Google Ads.
Okay.
And hey, Michelle, good to see you. So happy to have you here with me today. So I do. Oh, and she does want to do Facebook ads. So Kathy, here's my question about the two different platforms. Maybe I'll clarify this. So when it comes to I guess the call to action, which is connected obviously to your overarching strategy. How does that differ between the two platforms, right? Like I get Facebook ads, typically we're moving people through a sales funnel, right? Typically, I know the way we do it, and obviously you're very instrumental in that process in my business, is we're promoting something that's free for the most part,
That's where we start kind of at the top. Yeah, exactly.
How would that differ on a Google ad, right? Do you have a sense? I know you don't really do Google.
Yeah, I haven't done them in a while. I mean, one thing, and you bring up Michelle as an example, and I don't know what her strategy is, but Google ads can be really effective for local advertising too.
Oh,
right. It's something you just, because apparently the keywords just don't get bought out as much on a local level. But again, also, I always tell people you have to test it, right? Everyone's different. So these are just kind of general guidelines. I mean, I think for Google, I think you're just you're closer to like the purchase. So it'd be, your call to action is either maybe to visit a place. You'll probably see a lot of, when you type in, like you're looking for a restaurant or a cafe or a coffee shop, so either to visit or something to purchase. And, Google has the Google Shopping, which can be very effective. Okay.
Yeah, I do know that because I've been on some of these calls with the Google ad strategist, and it truly is based on, you have to pick your geography, right?
Right. Yeah.
Facebook ads,
you can do the whole US, and
you can base it on geography though, right? Like if you,
I mean, you can get as close as, I think the smallest you can get is like a mile. So I used to do, I have a client who's a jewelry designer, and she had a studio in San Francisco, or she had it was a studio, but it was open to the public. And we would do, when she would do events, we would do ads for people within a mile radius.
Okay. Yeah. So you can do that on Facebook.
Yeah, you can do it. But you can easily, generally most of my clients are targeting the US, sometimes Canada, but I have a few clients I work with that do local geographic targeting.
Okay. Well, Michelle, let us know if you have questions or are curious about where to start in terms of doing your ads. Now, the other thing that I do want to point out is that you can, obviously Instagram and Facebook are, they're a joint entity.
Exactly.
So can you, on the back end, I know this is kind of a rhetorical question, but I'll ask it anyway for our audience's benefit. Can you kind of divvy up your ad spend on the back end?
Yes, absolutely. So you can choose
dollars to each platform.
Yeah. So you can choose, they call them placements. So you can choose where your ad goes. So if you want to have it only on Facebook, if you only want to have it on Instagram, if you only want to have it on Instagram Reels or Stories or the Instagram feed, I mean, you can get really granular. Facebook's, direction is that they prefer you to just put it everywhere and let them decide where they can find your target. And to some degree, I think that's true. So, but again, it's always back to testing. I get a lot of clients who are like, oh, my client is only on Instagram. I only want to be on Instagram. And that's fine. We can do that. But a lot of times I like people to test that, because Facebook is so big. And even though the tendency is that it's like older women on there, right? There's a lot of young people too. Like I have a client who targets law school students, and we find just as many people on Facebook as on Instagram. Right. It's just that Instagram's so much smaller than Facebook. I mean, Facebook's so big that you can find everybody on it. But, I have a client who, for brand building, they want to be on Instagram. So we, put a certain percentage of their spending on Instagram, and then a certain percentage on all the platforms, to to even that out.
Okay.
But yes, you can get as granular as you only want to be, like you only want to run a reel and do that.
So let's talk a little bit about, so we've touched base on Instagram. I mean,
Okay.
historically, we kind of assume that that is for a younger,
Right.
a bit of a younger population, although we do see the age increasing.
Yeah, it's probably like mid-30s, right? I mean, it was 10 years ago. It was like, yeah,
Oh my gosh, do you I remember, and I
all the kids.
together, probably at our masterminds out now.
Right. So now TikTok is like
It's like, oh, this thing, Instagram, right?
Instagram and Snapchat was big then. I don't know if people still use that, but TikTok obviously is.
Yeah. I don't know. I think kids still do Snapchat.
Do they? Okay.
But yeah, I do think a lot of Instagram, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
for health and beauty and wellness, for sure. Shopping.
So let's talk a little bit about TikTok, shall we?
Okay, sure.
What is going on with TikTok? So
I know.
Yeah, because obviously I'm hearing and I'm getting some emails about, possibly TikTok being banned.
Right.
Got some people that have really been putting their eggs in that TikTok basket.
Right.
I think it's a good example of not a good idea to put all your eggs in one basket. And P.S. Great idea to use the platform to grow your email list because
exactly.
I think, Kathy, our big message today.
Yeah, I mean you raise such a good point, and you raise it in terms of like the government taking to a social media platform, which I mean you never think that's going to happen in the United States.
And we don't know.
We don't know for sure. But you raise a point is like, and it could happen. That's the danger you have on any platform.
It is.
Whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, is the rug could be pulled out from under you, and there's like little that, and I mean, I don't want to be a scaremonger, but there's little you can do, right? And so that's why Leslie and I are always like email plus Instagram, email plus Facebook, email plus TikTok, right? Because you have your people on your list, and if for whatever reason you can't reach them anymore, then you set up shop somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it could be like, Snapchat is like, let's say you picked email plus Snapchat, and Snapchat has really declined, I think, in the past.
Yeah, I think so.
10 years or so, or since they were like the big new thing on the block. And so you could then have decided, hey, not as many people want to go over there. I'm not getting as many organic growth, and I want to move to Pinterest. Then, right, you can tell everyone, you can have a reason, or let's say for whatever, like you get kicked off Instagram, which can happen, and you can't get back on. Then you're able to communicate with your message through email, to your audience with email. The other important thing is that, with these platforms, you never know, it might mean like Instagram. So you post on Instagram and you don't know what percentage of your audience sees it. And even if you do a pave and you run ads, you still don't know what percentage of your audience sees it. Whereas with email, in theory, you're going to get 100% penetration. You send that message to everyone. Now, whether it gets clogged in their spam filters, et cetera, but at least like you have that ability to send it.
You do. Yeah. And I just want to say a quick hello to Rakshana. And so I'm curious, are you wanting to target in your area because you have a brick and mortar practice?
Yeah.
Probably. And then the other thing I did want to just mention as we dig more into the importance of an email list, I love what I see here, where she says email list building would be what I would love to learn more on. And it's a little bit ironic that you say that, just because as of today, I did commit to my team that I'm going to create a course on this. Don't you think that would be helpful? Yeah, it's super important, especially because I talk so much about helping my clients to create a leverage practice.
Right. And that's the fundamental.
Let's be honest, it really is about growing that email list so that when you go to fill your program, you've got people waiting with bated breath,
Right.
right? That's the whole,
Right.
yeah. Yay. All right. So, all right, guys, I'm putting it out there. I'm committing. I'm going to make that happen. All right. Be on the lookout. You know how it is when you put it out there,
Exactly. Exactly. Totally.
right? So I'm
Right.
going to move that up the list of priorities. Awesome. So thanks for that extra inspiration. I appreciate that. Okay. So, all right. So anything else we want to add about TikTok or, Instagram, or do we want to move on to?
Yeah, and just with that fear, like, is TikTok going to be around? I mean, my recommendation is just like if TikTok's your place and you're doing well with it,
Yeah.
like keep moving. Don't let these. I mean, just keep moving with it, knowing there's always a risk, and always have your plan B, which we recommend to be email for now. And if there is the case that TikTok isn't available or for whatever reason you can't access it, then start building your plan. But don't let the like clouds of fear change you. And same with like I was talking to a client earlier who wanted to do some like crazy things because something could happen, and it's like, don't worry about it. Like, just move your business forward, go 100%. But I will, like we said, like you've got to build your email list, and have an organic social media platform, and then use that platform to build your list.
I think that's the,
you know what I mean? You get that following on Instagram, and like always be promoting your freebies, your master classes, your webinars.
Platform to your email list. Guys, you own your email list.
Exactly.
Super important. All right. So let's move into a conversation, Kathy, about what if, and I'm sure we probably have folks on the line today who have tried Facebook ads, but they say doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean,
it doesn't work. So first of all, what do we think how are we making that judgment? Is it based on, I didn't get any clients, I didn't, how are we analyzing the data, I guess?
Yeah. And it's a great question when people come to me, they're like, oh, I tried ads, they didn't work. And what my ingoing perception is, well, advertising works. It's just, how is it executed? So, and like as much as I love Facebook and Instagram, it may not, your clients just may not be there. But let's assuming that they are there. Then what we want to look at is, it depends what your goals are. Like, for instance, if we're trying to build an email list, we're looking at the number of leads or the number of opt-ins that come in from that ad. We could also be looking like, Facebook's a great way to create awareness. And so we may be using videos and images. And so there we would look at like the number of clicks that we get on the ad, or the percentage of a video that's viewed. And then, when you're selling, you're looking at, if you have that targeting or that tracking in place, the number of people who added to cart, the number of people who initiated a checkout, the number of people who purchased.
Okay. Right. So, all right. So in most cases, at least like with my clients that are working with you, and I know certainly for myself, we are creating a sales funnel. And the first step with the ad, and this is super important in my opinion for everyone to be clear on, is that we're generally speaking moving people into something free.
Exactly.
So do you agree that it's maybe not the best ad spend use of your money? I mean, I suppose there's some caveats, right? Like if it's let me finish what I was going to say. So versus something like trying to sell your paid course.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I mean, we can all think about like, how many times do we make an impulse purchase on the web from somebody that we don't know, or a company we've never heard of? It rarely happens. I mean, you just have to be in that really like the urgency is so high,
right?
And it's like and generally you can't hit someone like that when they're ready to push a button and they have no other options. They've got to have it done today. So generally we want to create a relationship with our potential client, with our new clients. And so that's why a freebie is great, because it's an easy way for someone to get to know you, your philosophy, what you offer, and to build that know, like, and trust factor,
Yes.
if you will. And so that's why, and most people just aren't ready, especially with something, with a service or a course or coaching. They're just not ready to make that commitment the first time they meet you.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And sometimes they don't even know they need it. That's what I think is so great about Facebook ads, is that, people may not even know that they need the type of, the coaching you offer, the service that you offer, until you introduce that to them and give them and paint a picture of what's possible. And so when somebody opts into your email list, you have the opportunity to do that.
Okay. So, all right. So back to looking at people that may come back to you and say, I tried Facebook ads, they don't work.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's many variables to look at, including how are you measuring it doesn't work, right?
And also, what did you do? Like, for instance, I've just started working with it. It's like, also it's who did the ads. Facebook ads can actually be really complicated and really tedious. And that's why I do a lot of work for people. I mean, I have really smart clients, but they just don't have the time to learn it and then to stay updated with it. Because if you've ever been on the back end of Facebook ads, you know that they change all the time. And like I said, there's all these kind of little tricks to get you to relinquish control in areas that you may need to relinquish or may not. And so that's another issue. So, I mean, like I said, everything's always a test. And a lot of times people just unfortunately don't have a very good test to start with, because the platform may be complicated, or maybe they worked with someone who didn't know what they were doing. I mean, so.
Okay.
But sometimes you know it, and sometimes they just don't. Sometimes the other thing is sometimes it can just be expensive. Like, your audience could just be a very competitive audience, and it can just cost more.
Okay. So what would you say is for people that are listening today that are like, I'm intrigued?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I always encourage people to experiment with Facebook ads and to at least give it, especially with email lists. I mean, I believe every business should be building an email list. And so I'm available if people want to have a consult with me. I can talk to them about their business and give them some insight based on what their goals are, what their objectives are, and who they're trying to target.
Okay. Awesome. And we'll share Kathy's contact information for everyone.
Yeah. You can go to my website and all my information.
Kathy Lowe knows.
Yes, that's me.
Kathy Lowe knows.
So it's Kathy Lowe Rocks, so it's jewelry, and now that's the evolution of that. I know ads. So.
All right. I love that. What questions do you guys have, people listening today, about utilizing actually both Facebook and Instagram ads?
Yeah. I mean, they're both.
One thing I did hear you say that is kind of intriguing is you mentioned that you can get results with $1 a day. I
mean, it depends. That's a little bit of a stretch. But if you're just
$5 a day is reasonable.
$5. I mean, it depends how much. I mean, I have clients who get leads for 50 cents, and I have clients who get leads for $125. Really. But if you're another really good use of Facebook ads. And you're probably right. If you're probably minimum spend, if it's probably $5 a day to get you some traction, if you're doing list building or you're doing awareness, sometimes what people do is they'll run like an introductory video talking about who they are, what they do. And that could be a good way to warm up people. I mean, it's not as good as having someone on their list because Facebook owns that audience, but nonetheless, it's a way to kind of communicate who you are, what you do.
Okay. I know what I wanted to ask you about. Okay, so there's a couple different kinds of ads, right? There's the kind where and I'm thinking specifically where the call to action is, hey, do you want to grab my or sign up for
my guide or my web recorded masterclass is a great
something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you speak to the difference? I know there's two different kinds, right? Like click here and the person is taken off of the Facebook platform
Oh, right.
onto
Yeah.
landing page that like someone like myself would have created.
Right.
Alternatively, there's the kind of ad where you just populate your
You
name
stay in the platform.
inside of Facebook.
Yeah.
And generally, and tell me the name of that.
So they're called lead ads.
Okay, lead ads.
And
Got it.
Facebook has them. You can do them on Instagram, and actually LinkedIn has them
Okay.
also.
It's
But
easy, right? You just
I love them so what it is that generally just when you're trying to capture email addresses from an ad, you have a compelling offer on your ad, someone clicks on it, and they get taken to a landing page. On the landing page, you repeat what has been, the offer, simple. Right. And then somebody fills in their name, email, and they go to a thank you page.
Okay.
Now, for some people, there's a couple things that can be really arduous to set up set up those landing pages. The landing pages may not always convert. And there's also a situation where you're not even sure what offer will work. And so Facebook has this really great ad unit, if you will, where somebody can fill out, they can learn about what the offer is. And then when they click like they're interested, the name and email field pops up in the ad and Facebook collects it for you.
Okay.
And there's so many great. One is that you don't have to the time and expense of building landing pages. Mm-hmm. The second is that you don't. I mean, really, that's and then it can convert better because somebody's in the platform. It's smaller. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, if somebody's landing page isn't converting, I want to see, well, is it the offer? So I do these lead ads to see what the conversion is. Okay, this is working. Now we can take those learnings and build out your landing pages. Or I have clients who are just like, okay, this is fine. This is working. I don't have time. I don't have the money. Let's just keep
build out a landing page.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then the disadvantages is you can't have an upsell on the thank you pages easily.
Okay.
But it's a great way to let's get, for somebody who comes to me is like, oh my God, I'm like so behind. I want to start yesterday. Yeah. I'll get them started on lead ads, and then we'll later migrate to.
All right. So I know there's also a downside.
Yeah, like anything, there's a downside. Well, the downside is sometimes it's too easy to opt in.
And then the question is, does it impact the quality of your lead?
It can. One way I combat that is we ask a question or two.
Like?
Have you, for instance, what if it's a weight loss program, what have you tried before to lose weight? Okay. Have you ever done business coaching before? Just a question that you would want to know about your audience.
Okay. And then, so I assume you can then download this on the back.
Exactly. So right? The way that's a great question. So you can capture the information. It's usually the name and email and like this question, if you want to do that. Okay. So you can download it directly in Facebook and you can have it automated. So for instance, you can use Zapier, which is a tool that connects software. So that can have it so that it automatically downloads from Facebook into ConvertKit or MailChimp or whatever you use for your Flowdesk for your CRM.
Okay.
Your email list provider. So yeah, super it makes it really a simple process.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about funnels.
Yeah.
All right.
Michelle's question.
Okay. So this is Michelle, and I don't know if you two know each other. I think you might have, but nonetheless, this is a really, really common question as well.
Yeah.
I have lots of clients who they want to make passive income.
Right.
Who doesn't want to make money in their sleep? Sign me up.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a great option. It's just once you get your funnel nailed,
right.
It gets it's a great thing.
Right.
It's just, okay, how to make that funnel work. So let's talk a little bit about how we can do this utilizing Facebook ads. So I think Michelle brings up a great point. So would she then do Facebook ads to promote like a free pre-recorded webinar?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
How do you feel about pre-recorded versus live? Is there any big difference when it comes to ads?
I mean, not in terms of ads, but what I do find is that the people who spend the energy doing the live webinar, they just get better at it. So like you do live webinar, no one shows up, or maybe just a few people show up, and you learn how to deal with those emotions.
Yeah.
And then you also learn how to sell on that webinar.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and it's hard to do them live, but if you commit to it and do it, you really learn how to
I'm a huge fan of
build.
live
Yeah.
myself, right? Like I think pretty much everything I do is live.
Yeah.
For a variety of, okay. So Michelle,
But a recorded webinar is fine. Like as a freebie, I think it's a great freebie. People opt in, they like it, and then to use it to promote a mini course, I think is a great option too.
okay.
But what I have to say is like, you just have to test it. Right. And everything's a test. And that's where the hard work and the grit comes in, is like, okay, we can get people, you do the work to get people on your list. Well, then the next work is, how do you get them to attend a webinar for you or attend a masterclass? And how do you get them to purchase
that next step?
But yeah, I think that's a great, journey or funnel.
Doing some ads, whether that be on, I'm guessing probably Facebook is more where Michelle would find her people. Maybe a little bit of a mix, but I'm just thinking for renal,
Yeah, people dealing with that.
And that kind of thing, although people are getting it younger. But nonetheless,
but that's a great thing about Facebook is that you can allow them to choose where to find the person. They watch and see, okay, who's clicking, who's opting in, who's purchasing, who's watching the videos, so they know who's interested in your content.
Right. Okay, so we would do an ad.
Right.
To a live webinar in Michelle's case.
Right.
And on that live webinar, Michelle would use the materials that I've shared with her to create a kick-ass live webinar.
Right.
With a really killer upsell, right?
Right.
Upsell into, in this case, a mini course. Now, Michelle, is your mini course live or is that pre-recorded? I'm curious about that. And then the other thing I'm curious about is how this would compare to a funnel. Okay, so, pre-recorded. All right, so she do a live webinar.
Okay, wow, to a pre-recorded course. Okay, yeah, I think that's a well-hewn, well-known.
Pretty true, right?
And yeah, that like the bones of that, the structure of that, yeah, tons of people have done that. They've done very successfully. It's each piece of the execution, the ad itself, the landing pages, the webinar, the pitch on the webinar, the name of your course, the price, all those pieces you work out. But yeah, I think that's exactly what ads are for.
So, all right, so kind of thinking through those steps. All right, so we get them into the webinar, right? Yeah. And we pitch.
Right.
At what point what am I trying to say? So we've got an email funnel live, and ready to go, right? And so we do the pitch live and then we email them.
Right.
Okay. So what about everything's pre-recorded?
Okay.
You and I have a shared client now that wants to do this, right?
Right.
She's got a pre-recorded webinar.
Right.
And I think the course is like a $300 course.
Right.
So my question is, do we put, is it too much to go from free webinar to $300 purchase? Do we need to have a intermediate step in there? I don't know, a $27 purchase?
Yeah. I mean, it's a great question. I mean, if I was just going to guess, I'd say, try, it's always easier to get someone to buy something that's less expensive than in general. So what I would do is I'd probably start with that and figure out how to do that and then start working on selling the higher price product.
So when you say start with that,
start with the lower priced.
Okay. So $27 thing.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm always a fan of trying both and just to give yourself a benchmark. And then also when you try, you always learn something from that
Okay.
experience, and you should get a sense of, okay, which one is going to be easier to figure out how to sell.
Okay.
But like I said, in theory, it's usually easier to sell something that's less expensive than more expensive. So,
So
yeah,
I think what you're saying is do the pre-recorded webinar.
uh-huh.
On that pre-recorded webinar, would you articulate the pitch? Or would you know what I'm saying, on a pre-recorded webinar? Or would you like, hey, congratulations, you've successfully signed up for this pre-recorded webinar. And then would you have like a pop-up menu that says, and for
At
next
the end, I'm going to make an offer.
can, get this thing.
Right.
I mean, go down a rabbit hole here with this, but
I think it's, like I said, it's all a matter of, generally, the webinar answers a question or presents a problem with a solution.
Right.
And then the transition then is if you want more assistance in that, or you want to make it faster, like here's how to do it. But if you need someone to help you do it, or you need to do it faster, or by solving this, you now have another issue, and I can help you with that.
Okay.
Right. So there's different ways to structure that so that you lead into the offer naturally.
All right. So for our shared client,
be
thinking go from the free pre-recorded webinar to something less than the $300 core offer that she wants to get out there.
Right.
Kind of.
I would test that.
Yeah,
for sure.
I do think going from, it might be a leap for people without like that intermediate step.
Or really figuring out. Some people do it because they just know how to sell, right? They just like know the pain points. They're charismatic. So but you learn that by selling. You learn how to, everybody can do it.
Yeah, guys, I really want to advocate for doing things live first.
Yeah.
You learn so much, and I know it can be more intimidating. I know that.
But look how good Leslie is for doing all this live. Seriously, everybody can be good on camera. Everybody can sell on camera.
Over 4 years.
Yeah.
And guys, trust me. Oh my God. It was, I did not want to do it. I was okay with doing webinars. But just the thought of just talking off the cuff constantly was just not really my jam.
And now do you feel really competent?
I can talk.
You can do it all the time.
I can. And you know what? And I say that because if I can do it, you can do it. There's nothing.
For sure. This is like,
absolutely. It just takes practice. And so doing things live, I really want to advocate for that.
Right.
We have lots of people, and granted, there's nothing wrong with wanting to pre-record.
Right.
The thing that I see, and just and I see really, really smart people doing this, making this mistake, is spending, the better part of a year creating this course, pre-recording all the modules, everything is
right.
And then they put it out there and they go, oops, it doesn't sell.
Right.
So you just don't want to go through that heartbreak. It's way better to put it out into the market live, tweak it, or even just launch,
And also, there's just you cannot replace the experience of interacting with people who are potential clients, people who are interested, people who are asking questions. And so that's what you get when you do things live, is that you're in the
trenches.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where you learn, is in the trenches.
Do you have any comment, Kathy, on this question?
So what do you mean that your low pricing is not
Get it?
Oh, you mean that your lowest price point's like $1,000 is not something that you would consider low? Is that what you're?
Not sure.
Yeah.
When it comes to a sales.
Oh, I think maybe she hears that don't do low.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay, got it. They're a little bit.
But you should price high. Every person, it's just like every person's going to have a different opinion. And I think you really have to trust your one, always test, right? Like Leslie and I here, we're like, well, this person should do a 27 versus 327. I mean, first of all, Leslie has like intimate knowledge of this individual and her market and her marketing, what she's done. So that's a little bit different. And also you always need to test because, some people think $3,000 is low, right? So
it is really relative.
Yeah, exactly. So you always want to be testing and testing what works for you and what feels comfortable for you to sell too. Sometimes people want to start out with a lower price point because it's easier for you to sell it. You get that confidence, you move up, you sell something more expensive. So there's no right answer, unfortunately. Yeah. Also, don't get caught in that paralysis.
I think
so-and-so said this is too high.
What I was trying to ascertain, kind of thinking out loud today, is so really what we're talking about here are more automated sales funnels, right? And I think that is a little bit different as compared to people that are reaching out to you directly and inquiring about your services.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So the big caveat here is if you are talking with someone, I think you can charge a lot more.
Oh yeah, and you should. I mean, that's what they want, right? You're spending the time and you're consulting with them, and that's probably your one-on-one package or your group package.
And that's in contrast to what we're talking about here, which is, kind of more automated sales funnels.
Right.
Chances are there's not like an actual verbal conversation in there.
Right. Absolutely.
What is like, kind of what is that sweet spot in terms of, because ultimately this client that Kathy and I are talking about, she's got a course. It's amazing. And it's like a $300 course, which is high. But the question is, how can we automate that funnel where she can just even make money, right?
Right, exactly.
But we need that intermediate step, kind of that low price step. And guys, the rationale is always to develop that know, like, and trust, right?
Right, absolutely, yeah.
So that's really kind of the core question. And there's many different ways to look at it. I think the key takeaway is to test.
Yeah, you absolutely have to. And with this client, we may find that it's probably just her. Well, we'll test her way to that price.
Absolutely. Okay. Awesome. All right, guys. So time flies, Kathy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's been almost an hour.
It's been too long. We've caught up and had a chance to do this. So, all right, guys. So we are about out of time. So thank you so very much for joining us today. I hope you got a ton of value.
Yeah. Always a pleasure. And I'm always here to help anyone who has questions about Facebook or Instagram.
I hope everyone that joined us today is feeling a little bit more inspired, right?
Yes.
And huge takeaway, right, Kathy? Grow your email.
Yeah, absolutely. And you
like a broken record
example of,
but
TikTok.
It always should be like,
growing your email list
on your annual goal sheet, right? Like,
because you own that list, and you can take it wherever you want.
And inside a business, that really is one of your most important assets. So
absolutely,
make sure you're focused on that. Use social media to get, of course, to grow your audience, but ultimately you want to get them on your list. So,
right.
All right, Kathy.
Okay.
I have to meet up
a great day.
One of these days soon.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, guys. So listen, thanks again for joining. Hope you have an awesome rest of your day, a good weekend, and I will see you next Thursday. I'm so excited that we figured out finally we can live stream on Instagram as well.
Woohoo!
So that's a huge forward. StreamYard just added that feature.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty new. Yeah, it's pretty new. It took us a couple tries to, of course, they don't make it easy, right?
Right, no.
But we got that nailed. So we will be live streaming not only all over Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, but also Instagram.
Oh, wow. Okay, I love it.
All right, guys. So look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care for now.
Okay.
Bye.
Have a great day. Talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.